Many business owners fear we are in serious trouble.
As people here on this earth, we are not meant to work for our money.
Do you get what they call hungry?
I'm there to do what I'm being paid to do.
I'm not here to do someone else's job.
There's something called paying your dues. It's really an investment in your future to go above and beyond.
Is above and beyond on my contract?
Man, where do I even start with this one? Dr. Phil really gathered Gen Z, gave him a little side eye, and basically said, y'all are lazy and entitled. Let's talk about it. And of course, the Gen Z reps pulled up with iced coffee, a portable blanket, and the full Wi-Fi password ready for their defense.
The most entitled generation in history.
Your generation is lazy. Y'all don't want to work these days.
Younger people just don't want to work.
And Gen Z doesn't want to work.
So I don't want to work.
I don't want to work anymore.
What is so wrong about quiet quitting?
Quiet quitting is a trend that started on TikTok and quickly took over the internet.
Quiet quitting, bare minimum Mondays.
Being gentler with yourself.
When it comes to having a job, I don't like it. My soul is meant to be free.
We love the internet, but I will tell you one thing, it's made you lazy. Oh, it's made you lazier than you ever thought you could be.
Work smarter rather than harder. These companies want to use you and use them back.
We want to quit because we're being taken advantage of.
We can't even afford to live. My generation is frustrated. We don't want to work anymore.
Honestly, the first 5 minutes felt like every Facebook boomer's wet dream. Back in my day, we walked uphill both ways to work in the snow, barefoot vibes. The business owners came in hot, like they were legit traumatized. One of them deadass said, "We don't even hire Gen Z anymore." Bro, that's wild. Like, how bad did little Madison screw up the spreadsheets for y'all to put a whole age group on a blacklist?
So you say right now you just won't hire Gen Z employees.
No, we don't. It's been a nightmare with 95% of the ones that we have hired. I once terminated an employee and her father called me 24 hours later asking how he could help get his daughter's job back. I'd never heard of that before. When I've lost my job, I didn't tell my parents to go call for me.
Daddy didn't call and get your job back?
No, he did not.
Yeah. Were you ever fired?
Oh, yes, sir. I've been fired.
Yeah, what for?
Oh, not coming to work once. You know, I was in my 20s and fresh out of the military and just kind of decided to do it my own way.
Oh, you were 20 before you got fired?
Yes, sir.
Hell, I got fired 20 times before I was 20.
And then the story about the dad calling to get his daughter's job back. Excuse me, sir, this is a law firm, not a PTA meeting. Imagine your grown-ass losing your job and your pop's out here dialing up your boss like it's parent-teacher conference day. Meanwhile, Dr. Phil hit him with a, "Did your daddy ever call your boss?" Like, sir, you know damn well Pops was too busy working 3 jobs just to keep the lights on. There was no "let me speak to your manager" moment back then.
So what are we doing?
Eric, you had one that showed up dressed like Harry Potter, posting videos.
They were doing Harry Potter TikToks. Yep, I can't make this up. And then they told me they were working, and I was like, well, a client didn't get a hold of you. And then I turned on TikTok later on that evening, and I saw when it was posted, and I was like, are you kidding me?
And listen, in fairness, that's not everybody in the generation, but it is a lot.
And bruh, what sent me was the Harry Potter cosplay at work. You know Gen Z bold when they roll into the office on week 1, wand in hand, straight up casting spells instead of sending emails. Expelliarmus, my last paycheck. And she really said she was working while filming TikToks. I'm sorry, but where was OSHA? That's a workplace hazard if I've ever seen one.
It's hard to do your job and work if you're on Instagram all day. You have to actually put your phone down and do some work.
But what do you do about the tremors and seizures if they put their phone down? 'Cause don't they start shaking?
Right. You gotta have good insurance, you know, but
Yeah.
yes, it's a problem.
You actually walked in to a new Gen Z hire that'd been there like a week, and they had their feet up on the desk.
I walked into their office and sort of, jumped back a little bit because literally her feet were kicked up on the desk. She had brought in her coffee maker in the bag, had like a little blanket. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a law firm.
In the coffee maker, the blanket, like, girl, you just moved in, huh? Squatter rights activated. Imagine walking into your office and someone's fully in pajama mode with their feet up like they're working from home, but in your office. That's villain behavior.
and you've seen it.
Personally, I think it boils down to obviously how they're raised, and right now this generation is being raised by the internet. And my husband and I have two 26-year-old children that are not on social media, not because we don't allow it, they're 26 years old, but because they see the ridiculousness of what it is.
Quiet quitting, bare minimum Mondays, snail girl era, like who named these? Gen Z turned clocking out emotionally into a whole aesthetic. Y'all invented quitting without actually quitting, and I low-key respect the creativity. But let's be real, if my coworker came in talking about, I'm not really feeling the vibes today, so I'll show up around 10:30, I'd personally escort them to HR with my bare hands.
It was COVID, so people weren't really working in the office. And so he just moved into the office and was living in his cubicle, and he posted it on Instagram. He was touring people around, and the next morning they came in and said, "You can't live here."
And shout out to the girl who proudly said, I'm not verifying insurance, not my job, don't wanna. Yo, the audacity is rich. Imagine being paid hourly and telling your boss, nah, I don't feel like it. This ain't The Sims. You can't just cancel tasks mid-shift like that.
Happy Bare Minimum Monday, everyone.
This is where things like quiet quitting, bare minimum Mondays, snail girl era all came in. It's about just doing the bare minimum and just do your job, clock out, go home.
I'm really not feeling it today. I think I'll roll in sometime around 10:30 when I feel like it.
This younger generation of people who do not want to work. As an owner of a business, I've seen it time and again. It does not work that way. You cannot build legacy and be lazy at the same time.
And then we get the lazy girl job queen herself. Sis really said, I'm a specialist. I don't verify insurance. Girl, you check people in. How specialist are we talking? Do you wear a lab coat, or is that just a vibe you tell yourself?
You say you have no problem telling your employer no if they ask you to do something outside your job description. Does that happen a lot?
Absolutely. Every day I go to work and I'm expected to be cross-trained without any bump in pay. I'm expected to cover for people who, quite frankly, they decide when and if they want to come to work, and it's just part of my job to do their work just because I'm there, and it's a team effort. And so no, I'm not going to overextend myself and bend over backwards for companies who don't take all the little nuances of being an employee of theirs into consideration.
Dr. Phil's face during this entire segment had me wheezing. Man looked like he was about to pull out a Bible and start praying for this generation.
So what's the last thing your boss asked you to do that you said, no, not gonna do that?
Verifying insurance. I'm not going to do that.
Mm-hmm. Why not?
Because I don't want to.
And you don't think that while you're there, getting paid to be there, that you're subject to doing whatever needs to be done while you're there? You're a specialist.
I'm a specialist, yes. That's a very good way to put it, because while I'm there, I'm only there to do what I'm being paid to do.
But real talk, when the lawyer lady said you gotta pay your dues, it's an investment in your future, I could hear every immigrant parent nodding aggressively through the screen. Meanwhile, Gen Z was like, above and beyond? Sorry, that's not in my contract.
Ever since I was a kid, I just wanted to be a firefighter. That's all I ever wanted. I wanted to be a hero. If I could talk to my younger self, I'd say, Ryan, this dream job, it's not a dream, it's a nightmare. Don't sacrifice your friendships. Don't sacrifice your family, because you're gonna be 34 years old and you're not gonna be able to call your best friend because you burned that bridge. You're gonna look at your dad's wall with the family, and there's gonna be pictures of them on trips and you're not in them. I RSVP'd to weddings and didn't show up. I said I would be at birthdays and I didn't show up. That's the price I paid for my dream job. I came back from an almost 2.5-week strike team assignment. I didn't have any missed calls. But even my family I was pushing away. All because to be a firefighter. be the best firefighter you can be.
Bro, the firefighter had me messed up. Dude spent 15 years living his dream, saving lives, and came back like, don't do it, kids, it's a trap. Like, damn, not the PSA making me question my whole existence. And when he said he RSVP'd weddings and just didn't show up because of work, nah, buddy, that's not the job, that's you. That's a friendship felony right there.
Yeah, and imagine all the sacrifice that person makes. You know, I deal with a lot of people who suddenly lose their job for various reasons. Sometimes it's illegal. Honestly, most of the time it's not. But it's a damn shame. You get people who say, I gave up everything for this company. And now a year before my pension vest, a year before I was gonna be set, they let me go. They laid us off. They acquired another company, new division, I'm redundant, I'm done, and now I have nothing.
But is the answer to that to play the game poorly along the way? Because look, my belief is that you make your own way and that everybody is in business for themselves.
And sure, he's got a point. Companies will use you, chew you up, and toss you out right before that pension hits. But his solution is what? Quiet quit from day one? Man, you quiet quit at the fire station, people literally die. This ain't Burger King, bro.
I agree with
You're in business for yourself, you're in business for yourself. All of you, we're all a CEO of one. And you gotta look in the mirror every once in a while and say, you know, how's this working for me?
100%.
And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have balance. If you're working for a psychopath, kick his ass to the curb, kick her ass to the curb, and go do something else. But that doesn't mean you should represent yourself poorly wherever you are.
Finally, Dr. Phil drops his "you're the CEO of you" line, thinking it's inspirational. Sir, this generation is barely the intern of their own life right now. CEO? Be serious. But he did land one solid point. You can protect your peace, but if you treat every job like a hostage situation, don't expect promotions. No one's out here handing out raises for exceptional mediocrity, and y'all know that's true. Here's the thing. Gen Z's not wrong for wanting balance, but y'all gotta chill with the I don't dream of labor TikToks while still expecting luxury vacations. Meanwhile, boomers need to stop acting like suffering is a badge of honor. We get it, you almost died at the steel mill. Congrats. At the end of the day, if you want the money, someone's gotta work. Either figure it out or be ready to explain to your landlord that rent is a social construct. Anyway, I'm off to quietly quit this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are you team lazy girl or team grind till you die? Like, comment, and subscribe, or don't. I'm not your manager.